French General Napoleon Bonaparte was one of the world's greatest military leaders who became the first emperor of France from 1804 to 1815. Born on the Mediterranean island of Corsica, he attended military schools in France and eventually embraced his adopted home. Bonaparte steadily rose to power in the tumult of the French Revolution before seizing power in a 1799 coup. He was elected consul for life in 1802, then proclaimed the French emperor 2 years later. As a political leader, Bonaparte broadly transformed French society, most notably ushering in the Napoleonic Code that still serves as the basis of civil codes around the world today. During the Napoleonic Wars, the famed military tactician expanded France's footprint before a string of critical losses forced him into exile. Bonaparte spent the final years of his life on the remote island of St. Helena, where he died in 1821 at age 51. Napoleon Bonaparte was born Napoleon Bonaparte in Ajaccio, on the French island of Corsica, on August 15, 1769. He was the fourth and second surviving child of Carlo Bonaparte, a lawyer, and his wife, Letizia Ramolino. Napoleon eventually had 7 surviving siblings. Around the time of Napoleon's birth, the French's occupation of Corsica had drawn considerable local resistance. Napoleon's father had at first supported the nationalists, siding with their leader, Pasquale Paoli. But after Paoli was forced to flee the island, Carlo switched his allegiance to the French. After doing so, he was appointed assessor of the judicial district of Ajaccio in 1771, a plush job that eventually enabled him to enroll his 2 sons, Joseph and Napoleon, in France's College d'Autun. In 1779, young Napoleon began attending the Military College of Brienne, where he studied for 5 years. He excelled as a student yet struggled to fit in with his classmates who were the children of French nobles and bullied Napoleon for being a foreigner. At age 15, Napoleon moved on to the military academy in Paris. While Napoleon was still there, his father died of stomach cancer in 1785. This propelled Napoleon to take the reins as the head of the family. Graduating early from the military academy, Napoleon, now second lieutenant of artillery, returned to Corsica in 1786. Back home, Napoleon got behind the Corsican resistance to the French occupation, siding with his father's former ally, Pasquale Paoli. But the two soon had a falling out, and when a civil war in Corsica began in April 1793, Napoleon, now an enemy of Paoli, and his family relocated to France, where they assumed the French version of their name, Bonaparte. Napoleon stood about 5 feet, 7 inches tall, making him slightly taller than the average Frenchman of his time. Much has been made of Napoleon's height, and legends claim that he was unusually short, giving rise to the term Napoleon complex, an inferiority complex sometimes associated with people of short stature. Some historians attribute the myths about Napoleon's height to British propaganda. Napoleon's return to France began with a service with the French military, where he rejoined his regiment at Nice in June 1793. The turmoil of the French Revolution, which began 4 years prior, created opportunities for ambitious military leaders like Napoleon. The young leader quickly showed his support for the Jacobins, a far-left political movement and the most well-known and popular political club from the French Revolution. A year after France was declared a republic, King Louis XVI was executed in January 1793. Ultimately, these acts led to the rise of Maximilien de Robespierre and what became, essentially, the dictatorship of the Committee of Public Safety. The years of 1793 and 1794 came to be known as the Reign of Terror, in which as many as 40,000 people were killed. Eventually, the Jacobins fell from power,